Welcome to What's in the Box, episodes of horror with Donna and Eric. I'm Donna,
And I'm Eric.
and we are doing our final Texas AuthorCon author interview with Jaime Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to get you on here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be seeing you as of right now, 1 week from today.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I know.
Coming up so soon.
I know. I kept thinking, I'm like, oh, it's so far away, so far. And then I'm like, oh, crap. It's like next week.
Yeah, it felt a year away from Scares last time Donna and I saw each other in person, and then all of a sudden we're there. So
Yeah. So just a few fun questions to start off with. Jason, Michael, or Freddy?
Yeah, I've been watching these and seeing. I'm in the minority. I'm definitely Michael Myers, but Rob Zombie's version.
Okay.
There you go. There's a twist.
I love, especially the second movie he did wasn't quite as good, but the first one, I just loved it. I've seen it quite a few times, and I like how he added it to the backstory where you saw, that his mom, he was in a very bad home environment, with his mom being a stripper and then his mom's boyfriend being just bad, and seeing all of that was pretty cool. I like that. And then, he's brutal in all of the Halloween movies, but I love, just especially in this one, when he's breaking out of the asylum, Danny Trejo's character, who's like a janitor, he's been taking care of him. He's been nice to him for the last 15 years. And he's like begging Michael not to kill him. And Michael's just like, you just see that there's this guy has no feelings, will never have any feelings. And just the way he takes him out, it was just like epic start to the movie, after the, opening showing him as a kid. But yeah. I absolutely love him. And I actually have a signed poster from Tyler Mane, who played him in the Rob Zombie version.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that he's imposing. I mean, that guy's huge. And so when he plays Michael in that version, you get a little more there's just more of a presence. And so, yeah, I definitely get, because I enjoyed the Rob Zombie version too. I get the reason why some people push back on it, but I think as a movie itself, it does a really good job of explaining everything, and it is pretty brutal. So, but yeah, he just is really good as Michael,
Yeah, definitely.
Now, the next question is werewolves or vampires?
I have to go with vampires.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan. Like, I don't watch a lot of vampires or werewolves, or I don't read a lot of them, but I do like them. But I'm not, it's not my favorite thing. But vampires, I really, really liked 30 Days a Night. Those vampires were just like, just so animalistic and so unlike any other vampires I was used to seeing. And, I just thought those were a lot of fun, and it's really scary. Most of the vampire movies I watch, the vampires aren't really scary to me, but in that one, they were.
Yeah, a lot of time the vampires come across in these movies, it's almost like they're, aristocratic. They're just there and they feed off of humans, but it's never done in a way that's terrifying. And 30 Days of Night, that's like a plague, like locusts flying in vampire form. So yeah, definitely. Like I said, I've said this before because that's come up a few times. I really wish they would have deep dived into the vampires a little more and given us more of a reason, just kind of a backstory, because it seemed like they probably had visited this place before. It felt like in the movie, like they kind of knew what they were doing. So, but yeah, they are great and creepy. And I love that they had their own language. I mean, they obviously were speaking like Eastern European or something like that, but it had that kind of feel to it, but that they were doing their own thing. Yeah. I do enjoy that a lot. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, vampire movies, they're really hit or miss. So
yeah, a lot more miss.
True. And the more, I think every 10 years, every decade, we get one or two that are really, really good that highlight how bad the other ones are. So
yeah. Absolutely. So as a kid, did you have a favorite horror movie?
You know what? As a kid, I didn't really have access to horror movies.
Mhm.
You know, I don't remember really seeing any. Um, I didn't really start watching horror until I was an adult, and then started watching all kinds of stuff. So
Just give
no, not
me,
as a kid,
give it to
unfortunately.
me.
No. But yeah, once I became an adult, yeah, lots and lots of horror movies.
So do you have
What
a
was the?
favorite
Yeah, I was gonna
favorite
say, what
one
was the
now?
first one or the first one you watched to kind of get you in there?
Oh, the first one that got me into it. You know, not that it's that scary, but it's epic and classic. But Night of the Living Dead.
Mm.
And when I saw that, well, that's what made me fall in love with zombies. And then I watched Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead the same day, and I was just like, this is amazing. And then after that, I sought out every zombie movie I could find and really loved that. So that's the first one. I'm sure I probably saw some before that, but that's the first one I remember. My favorite is House of a Thousand Corpses, and the second movie, Devil's Rejects,
Mhm.
is, I think it's just as good as the first. Totally different, but just
Yeah.
as good as the first one.
In fact, I think it might even be better because
Yeah.
he's got more skill behind the camera,
Mm-hmm.
and the story is a little cleaner. But I like the way the house is. It's a little more chaotic, and it really has that flavor of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and some of the other '70s classics. So yeah, no, that's a fun movie. I don't think it gets near enough. I think the problem with all of those movies is that people have already decided if they like or don't like Rob Zombie, and so they always draw a
Yeah.
line with him.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people I feel like haven't even given these movies a chance, or maybe they just didn't like it. I mean, that's fine, whatever. But uh, sometimes I get that feeling that there are people that have made up their mind that Rob Zombie's the issue, and so they won't even give any of these things a shot. But
Yeah.
yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses, that's a fun movie. And but yeah, I think you're right. The next one is even better. Well, I said that, but
Well, no,
they're
actually,
both a good one too. So
I agree with you. The first one's just so creepy and
mhm.
out there, and then the second one, I just love the characters, and actually the story. It gets even creepier, really. When once they've kidnapped those people. I mean,
Yeah,
that gets pretty vicious and
and it's a
uh,
little more in your face and a little open because it's outside. The first one's in the
mhm.
house, and you've got a lot of. It's really dark and dirty and gross and all that, but there's just like I said, he just got better at being a director, and so in the next one, he's got some better shots, and we've got some more. The lighting is almost the opposite, and you really can see what they're about and what they're doing, and so I think that added to. And then I think the guys, the actors, they really love. It felt like they really loved being in these movies, and they really enjoyed those characters, and it comes through, I think, on the screen.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now,
The movie's so well cast, and
Mm-hmm.
He pulls random people like Ken Foree from the original Dawn of the Dead. Like having him, and the one of the women from the group they kidnapped in the second movie was played Terry on Three's Company, and I'm just like, how does his mind work that he thinks of how he's casting these movies? It's crazy and brilliant to me.
Yeah, it's almost like he's the Tarantino of horror movies. He's going to go
Yeah.
find people that nobody talks about anymore and throws them in there. So,
Yeah.
since your first experience or first love of horror was a zombie movie, do you prefer fast or slow zombies?
I prefer slow zombies. I'm like old school. I think it's really creepy and scary that, they're slow. It's not like they can chase you down, but you get overwhelmed by them. Like there's always a horde. It's not like you see one or two walking alone. There's always these hordes of zombies, and they just slowly close in on you. And I think that's really scary. I like the fast zombies too, but I'm old school, slow.
yeah, the inevitable ending, no matter what you do, that slow pace zombie is eventually going to win out. So
Yeah.
that's terrifying in its own way.
And it may not be that particular zombie, but there's like 100 others
Yeah.
that are gonna get you.
Yeah, I'm playing Days Gone right now on my PS4 for, a second playthrough, and that's a whole zombie thing, and so you come across a horde, you'll be on a motorcycle in the middle of the night, and then all of a sudden there's 1,000 zombies that they start chasing you, and they're all they're a little faster, but there's still a ton of them. So yeah, the zombies are fun. So
Yeah. If someone were to say to you, "Hey, I want to get into reading horror. I've not really read any horror books before," what would you recommend to them?
I'm a huge fan of indie authors. I don't think I've read any mainstream authors in maybe 15 years. And so definitely be an indie author. There's so many great ones out there. And again, I love zombies. I write zombies. And the author who got me into it, I didn't even know zombie books existed. I just stumbled across them one day on my Kindle back in 2017. And Sean Chester's Surviving the Zombie Apocalypse. It's a long series. I think there's maybe 18 books now. It's ongoing. Wow. That's what got me into it. Really, that was my favorite indie author starting out. Still one of my favorites. And I would definitely recommend indie authors. And that was my first one that, so I'd say Sean Chester. Of course, it's zombies. Zombies may not be, doesn't cover all horror, but that's
one. No, but it's a fun subgenre, and there's there's a ton of people that are into it just simply from The Walking Dead. So that's a good one to throw out there so people know that there's a ton of things to find. Like you said, the indie authors, and that's the cool thing, because I think zombies dominate, or indie writers dominate the zombie subgenre, because you don't really see too much mainstream. But there's so many good, like Monster Island and your series, and Merrill isn't his. Yeah. So there's a lot of good indie people. I mean, there's going to be even some of the people we've interviewed that normally just write fantasy or something. They almost all have one zombie apocalypse book. It's just kind of cool how we all kind of bond over zombies. So
and Urban Gridlock was actually the first zombie book I had ever read.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Really cool. I love zombies. I love zombie movies, but I just never thought I could actually read a zombie book. So when I had seen, I don't even remember how I saw it, some post you did on Facebook, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. So I decided to grab a copy from you, and I read it, and I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I haven't read the other two, but they're on my giant to be read list. But yeah, that was actually the first zombie book I'd ever read.
Wow.
And yeah, and I haven't read a whole ton since then, but I have read some, and I find that I really enjoy zombie books. I really enjoy a good zombie story, and there's so many different takes. I actually read one that was not so much about the zombie, but it was about the survival of the people. So it didn't focus too much on the creatures. It focused a lot more on the people that were trying to survive. So yeah, I mean, coming from, I don't know if I'd really like a zombie book too. Hey, I like a good zombie story now.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. That's just.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I'm honored for that.
Do you have a favorite horror novel of all time?
It's hard for me to choose one favorite. And like I said,
name a couple.
Okay. Well, I mostly read indie authors almost exclusively now, but outside of indie authors, there's one book by Stephen King that's always stuck with me. Most of his books, I've read a lot of them. I stopped reading him like maybe 15 years ago, but I've read so many of them, and once I finished them, I didn't even remember them anymore. Like they didn't really resonate with me like they do some people. But the first story he ever wrote, it wasn't the first one published, but the first one he ever wrote was The Long Walk. It's horror. It's a little bit dystopian. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of it. I haven't read it yet.
I just loved everything about it. And that book has stuck with me for 20 plus years. So I think out of, mainstream authors, that's probably my favorite. And then going into indie authors, there's so many.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Sean Chester, Bobby Adair, David Simpson. And Bobby Adair, I love his Slow Burn series, but I also love his other books as well. They're not all zombie books, but I obviously gravitate towards zombie books more than anything else. I really, really enjoy them. So I'd say, yeah.
Very
and I
cool.
could just go on. There's so many great indie authors out there.
Yeah, there is. It's so horrible. I hate it. No.
Yeah. No, yeah, and it's also tough because you don't want to leave anybody out. So then you're going to be sitting here for an hour naming names as we try not to offend anyone. But yeah, I get it. So
yeah, I'm the same way, Jamie. I read 99% indie authors, and I read a lot every year. And I was, reading the, James Rollins and the Stephen King and the Dean Koontz and the Preston and Child and all those people before I discovered the indie horror community. And I was like, whoa, all of these talented people, all of these good books, there's just not enough time in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. My to be read list is always way too long.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I'm one of those people that likes to read or re-listen to a book or series that I really love, especially if it's like a new book in the series is coming soon. I'll go back and reread all the books leading up to that, or if I have it on Audible, I'll listen to all of them again. So I love doing that, but that also makes my list, stay long because there's so many I still want to read,
Yeah, I kind of combat that because I read multiple books at a time now.
Oh.
So I don't know how I ever got to that place. But now I'm like, I read one on my Kindle, one on my phone, and I have a physical book. And I always have multiples going at a time.
So
and the list still doesn't get any smaller.
Yeah, it's the other problem with indie authors. We pump out a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah. So for people who may not be familiar with your books, I know you've touched on it a little bit, but just tell us a little bit about the books that you write, the genre that you write in.
Sure. I write zombies. I have written some short stories that weren't zombies for anthologies, but I love zombies. That's just probably what I'll always write, my main thing at least. My series is called Chronicles of the Undead. And the first book is Urban Gridlock. There's 3 books now. I'm writing the 4th one, hoping to release it. It'll be sometime this year. I don't know quite when yet. And I'm also putting them on Audible. People have asked for 2 years when I'm going to use. So I've got the first 2 on Audible now, and Bloodbath Lake will be on Audible soon. But yeah, my books they're zombie books, but they're very character oriented, character driven, and my stories focus on, it's basically 2 families that are just really tight knit and have known each other their whole lives, and it's focusing on them trying to, first of all, reunite and just survive the zombie apocalypse. And it starts out with 2 best friends. They're in downtown Cleveland working construction, and they have a elevated view about 6 stories up high on the side of a building to what starts when the zombie apocalypse starts. And it starts fast and furious. It's just,
yes, it does.
And in the world I created, the characters, you just assume the characters know what zombies are from, like our world with movies and TV and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, it doesn't take them long, or some of them at least, doesn't take them long to figure out it's zombies. And it focuses a lot on the relationships between the characters, but then I have a lot of action and gore And, you know, a lot of my readers tell me that I have a lot of missing fingers in my books. You know, I'm thinking, you know, if you're trying to fight off a zombie, there's a good chance it's going to bite your hand. So I didn't even realize how much I did that. And so now I make sure to have some of that in each book because my readers have always loved that. So, but yeah, it focuses on everybody trying to reunite. And then, you know, once the people who do manage to get back together, there's always something horrible. You know, it never settles down. You know, they think they're safe, they're not safe, and just their struggle to survive. And it's really the first book is just really about getting everybody reunited.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's an ongoing series, like I said. You know, if you want to read the second book, you need to if you don't read the first one first, you're gonna confuse.
Okay.
Yeah, the ending of the first book definitely leaves you feeling that, you know, it's going to continue on in the next book. And, you know, just from having read the first book, I know that I wouldn't understand the second if I didn't read the first. And while we're talking about that book, Urban Gridlock, I still want to say I'm very upset still. And even though I've read it over a year ago, I'm very upset over the death on top of the semi truck. And I'm not going to say any more than that. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I'm still upset over that.
Yeah, I know that shocked pretty much everybody. But whenever one of my main characters die, there's a reason for it. Like I don't just say, I'm gonna take this one out or take that one out. And you know, Max is our main character, and this, even though it's about their, you know, the families and everything, he's the main character, and it's just, you know, putting him through the ringer and, you know, him having to face unbearable loss and just what else can we throw at him to, you know, just test him and how far can we push him. And
but it still hurts me, so I'm just letting you know.
That makes me happy. I mean,
I know, right? It always does. I love, that's my favorite thing to ever hear, when somebody tells me that something I wrote affected them that much or for that long of time. So
and maybe that's why I haven't been able to bring myself to read the because I'm like, I don't want to know what's going on, like what happens to them kids, because at the ending, the girl who, you know, I'm like, what's going to happen to her? And I'm like, I don't know if I want to know.
Well, like I said, I don't, the character deaths happen for a reason, and I don't just randomly pick like, okay, we're going to take out this one, or, you know, I don't kill someone off just to kill them off. So you know, you might be upset about someone else, you know, in one of the next books, but I don't kill everybody. You know.
Well, that's good to know.
I read one series that I absolutely loved, and by the end of I think it's a 5-book series, and by the end of the 3rd book, there were only 2 characters left, and I'm like, what's he gonna do next? Like, but it was brilliant, you know. It's I was surprised how well the author was able to do it, but I don't kill off everybody.
No, that's good to know. Good to know. So speaking of killing off people, when you're writing those deaths, do you have music playing, or are you a silence?
Actually, no music. I like everything quiet. And I tried writing with music a couple times just because, you know, other people said, oh, you know, how do you not write with music? And I'm like, no, I can't. It's a distraction. I just want to completely focus. And, you know, my daughter's usually in here with me, but, you know, she might be asking for something in the background, or I hear her playing or something, but that I can write with that, no problem.
Yeah.
But actual, like, having music or something on, it's just a distraction. I like it silent.
Yeah, me too. I'm that way.
I was gonna say, it feels like most people have been theme silence. So
yeah, you're the minority there, Eric, with your music playing.
I was thinking maybe Team Weirdo, but
Team Weirdo.
Yeah, we'll go with Team Silence. But no, I get it too, because there are times where I will cut everything off because I want it to be really quiet. So I'm focusing on something, but there are other times I kind of need that, just drowning out the background noises. But you know, music, just instrumental usually is the way to go for me. So, but
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know people that like you'll see people post that they're watching like a movie while they're writing or a TV show or something. No way I could do that because I would definitely start focusing on
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that either.
And all of a sudden I'm just transcribing a screenplay of whatever I'm watching. So, yeah, no,
I started with 1,000 words and now I'm up to 1,001 words.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I've been watching the show. Yep. Oh, that's good. So you already talked, you've got a 4th book coming out in your book series. Is this the only series that you have or the only books that you have? Okay.
This is the only series. I'm probably going to do a spin-off series from it you'll see as you read further into the series, if you get, to the next 2 and 3, and then later on the 4th one, the way some of the characters develop and the character arcs, there's a couple characters that, actually there's 2 sets of characters that are probably going to have spin-offs that I'm excited about doing, but I'm actually probably going to start one of those after I finish the 4th book. And the 4th book is Cursed Country. And like I said, I don't have a release date. I'm not quite done writing it. I'm getting close. But then, I don't know about a release date yet.
Is that going to be the final book in the series?
Most likely that'll be the final one in the main storyline.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I also have to see what my readers think. And I say that because when I wrote the first 3, I left it so it was possible that the 3rd book could be the final book. Because most zombie series that I read are either 1 book, 3 books, 6 books, or more. So I'm like, okay, I have ideas to go through 6 books, but I wanted to see, how much people were really into it. And yeah, they let me know right away that they're waiting for book 4.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we're going to keep going. So,
cool.
So as long as your readers demand it, you'll possibly keep going. And that's the way it is because readers always want more. We're greedy like that.
Oh my gosh,
I always tell every time I read a book that I really like, I'm always messaging the author. I would like a sequel to that, please, and thank you. If there isn't already one. I just did that last night with an author. I finished his book and I'm like, I would like a sequel. We're greedy readers.
Yep.
So other than coming out to Texas AuthorCon next week, where can people find your books?
Definitely on Amazon. I don't have my own website, so I would just say go to Amazon and you'll find everything there. And then people can find me on Facebook. I have an author page and things, but I'm most active. I have a little fan club. It's just Jaime Hernandez fan club. And I'm on there pretty much every day. And it's really fun interacting with all the readers. We just have a lot of fun. And then anytime there's news, about like my Audible book coming out or the next new book coming out or cover reveal, you'll always find it there. But people who are, completely new to reading me will probably want to go to Amazon first.
Okay, great. And yeah, in the description of the video, we'll have a link to your Amazon author page so people can find you easily.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and it's been wonderful to talk to you. It'll be great to meet you next week. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so everybody come on out and see us at Texas AuthorCon next week, the 14th and 15th in Richardson, Texas. It's a free event, but if you want to be eligible for the door prizes, you'll need to go to the Eventbrite link to sign up for a ticket. Other than that, we will see you there. Bye.
Take it easy.
Bye. Thank you.